Hey folks, Alex McMahon here of Evolve Nutritional Therapy. This is going to be the fourth video in our series on your holiday survival guide. In this video, what we're going to be discussing are the actual action steps that you can take at any social event to ensure your success. So first and foremost, we're going to want to start with all the healthier foods. So part of the reason why this is such a big deal is because you want to leave less room in your stomach for some of the unhealthier options. Also, by starting off with better quality foods, you're going to ensure that all your nutritional bases are covered for when you do decide to kick your heels up. The next most important thing is to eat slowly, trying to chew each bite roughly 15 to 20 times. So one of the big things is that people have a tendency to far overeat because they're under chewing. It takes roughly 15 to 20 minutes for your gut and your brain to signal to each other that we're full and to turn off the hunger signal and to stop eating. Now, if you don't take that amount of time and if you eat too quickly, you can actually end up feeling really stuffed and bloated because you ate way more and far quicker than your body actually could keep up with. So by slowing down and chewing your food, you'll realize when you are realistically full and be able to push the plate away. Another big aspect is to drink plenty of water. So we touched on this a little bit in the last video, but a lot of people are walking around over-consuming food because they're actually dehydrated and a little thirsty. So by making sure that you're adequately hydrated at the event, you'll ensure that you aren't eating out of thirst. Next would be the 80% rule and asking yourself, am I still hungry? One of the big things is that people end up eating way more than they need, and people end up eating until the point when they are actually stuffed instead of eating until they're just no longer hungry. Now there's a big difference there, and a lot of the societies that are the leanest in the world have this 80% rule. They eat until they're 80% full, and then they push the plate away. Now this also allows time for your body to digest, break down, and then send the signal of how full you are. Now you can always pick the fork back up a little bit later and finish up your plate if you're still actually hungry. But most of the time, when you ask yourself, am I still hungry, and you find yourself less hungry for the next bite, it means that you could potentially be just eating to clean your plate and not eating because you are still hungry. The next biggest thing is to not linger near the food table. It's easy to overconsume a lot of the calorically dense snack foods and to eat very mindlessly if you're just next to the food table that has all the M&Ms and the cookies and things like that on it. People will end up eating out of boredom or just out of habit. So if you remove yourself and socialize a little bit further away from the food table, it's a good way to solve that. And next thing would be to focus on socialization. At social events, people actually end up focusing on food way more than they do the people around them. And when you shift that focus to maybe going up and chatting and having a deep conversation with a family member or a friend, or maybe there's an attractive guy or girl that you notice there and you want to go up and have a conversation with them, when you switch the focus to socialization and to getting into those deep, fun conversations with people, you end up becoming less food focused, which is something we're trying to work on here. The next thing is to learn to say no thanks. At every single social event, there's going to be a food pusher. There's going to be somebody who's trying to encourage you to have some more of their dish. And you don't have to eat anything that you really don't want to. And by choosing to say no to somebody's food, you're not going to wreck their week, you're not going to wreck their night. Now, when you're trying to make big shifts in your nutrition habits, you're going to have to get comfortable with telling people no thanks. And it may be a little uncomfortable in the beginning, but the more that you do it, it's going to end up becoming something you have an easier time doing. The next thing to keep in mind is that you don't always have to finish your plate. A lot of people end up eating way too much because they have been raised with the habit of just always having to finish their plate. Now, you don't have to finish your plate, and by incorporating the 80% rule, it's going to make it a lot easier to kind of avoid that. But that's one thing that I always see is people end up stuffed and they end up overeating because they have to finish their plate mentality. And you don't realistically have to ever finish your plate. One other thing that's not listed on here that I wanted to keep in mind is to stick to the agreements that you make with yourself. It's going to ensure that you have long-term success and that you don't have to deal with a ton of overindulgences come the new year. So as always, I really greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos. Go ahead and click the link in the description to watch the next video, which is going to be all about how to deal with the times when you do overindulge and how to get back on track. Hey folks, one last thing. I'm offering a free 30-minute nutrition phone strategy session. What we can do is we can figure out exactly where you are right now, where your goals are at, and then what the roadblocks are that are preventing you from getting to your goals. So if you click the link in the description, there'll be a small form for you to fill out. We'll hop on the phone and we can get you moving closer to your goals in a sustainable fashion based on what is right for you. So go ahead and click that link in the description, fill out the form, hop on the phone, and let's get you closer to your goals. Thanks for watching.